Mr. Steele, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to this interview every week on ArkanTalk. We have different guests, and you are in a great company of people. We recently had Miss Candy Hughes, so congratulations to you because you both were in the Arkansas Business 40 Under 40 class, so congrats on that award. But
Thank you.
Again, thank you for coming out. So for those who don't know, tell the ArkanTalk people a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a lawyer here in Little Rock, a firm called Steele Wright Gray, that I helped found in early 15. And we do various things, but a lot of politically related legal work. I served 3 terms in the state legislature beginning in 2010, and I've been practicing law for a little over a decade now.
Awesome, awesome. And I was reading the article, you come from a long lineage of attorneys, is that correct?
There's a lot of them. I'm the 6th generation in my family to practice, most of them all in southwest Arkansas. So going back to, I think, Arkansas's first circuit judge back before statehood. So yeah, it definitely a clear path for me through college and law school.
Awesome. So when they talk about the legacy of your terms that were there in the House, one of the big things that comes up is the casino legislation. So you were an author and a huge contributor to having the casinos come to Arkansas. At the time, I know that you were faced with a lot of people against you and things like that, but can you kind of share about those early moments about just having the foresight to bring casinos to Arkansas?
Well, I left the legislature in early 15, and then in 2016 there was a casino amendment that I wasn't involved in that was run statewide, a ballot initiative. Ended up not making it to the ballot, but while it was in litigation, my partners and I were pulled in to represent some individuals who had signed the petition, and so we helped in the litigation of that 2016 measure that ultimately the court determined, based on the language of the amendment, could not be on the ballot. So the court kicked that one from the ballot. Shortly after that, medical marijuana passed, as you know, in 2016, and we represented some clients in that space and kind of rolling that program out through the application period and things like that. So through both of those measures, we ended up talking with some folks about a casino amendment that would probably meet the court standards to make it to the ballot. And we visited with various interested parties, Oaklawn, Southland, obviously, as well as some out-of-state entities, and we helped draft what is now Amendment 100, which authorized 4 casinos in the state of Arkansas.
Awesome, awesome. So you kind of talked about 2 hot-button issues. You got medical marijuana and casinos. Recently ran a poll a little bit just asking Facebook followers which ones do they think would leave the greatest impact on Arkansas. And impact as far as positivity goes, whether it be generating dollars for the economy, whether it be bringing jobs, kind of in your eyes, which one do you think will kind of do the biggest help to Arkansas over time?
Well, I think the casino amendment will have the larger economic impact. We're looking at probably well over $1 billion industry that was created essentially overnight. And again, all it really did was make Arkansas competitive with other states, because Arkansas is essentially on an island. Every state that surrounds Arkansas, with the exception of Tennessee, authorizes casino gaming. And so, as you know, they were building them on our borders, on our western border, along up and down the Oklahoma line, on our eastern border in Mississippi, southern border in Louisiana, and Missouri authorizes casino as well. So really just kind of catching that up and capturing those dollars here that were going out of state was the basis behind the amendment. And so I think between the two, capturing those dollars is going to lead to a lot of economic prosperity and kind of catching us up from where we've been lacking.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. As it stands right now, we're in July of 2019. Where are the casinos either going to be, or who already has started building the casinos?
So Oaklawn is doing Oaklawn transformed from previously just being able to offer electronic games of skill to a full-fledged casino resort. And as a result of that, they're doing a $100 million expansion. They're going to have a 4-star hotel, top of the line kind of resort down in Hot Springs. Southland over in West Memphis is doing, I think, a $250 million expansion, hotel, casino, resort over there west of Memphis in Arkansas. And the Quapaw Tribe of Oklahoma has gotten a license for Jefferson County. They're doing a over $300 million, ground up, first class, world class really casino resort there in Pine Bluff. The other application that's available under the amendment would be in Russellville, Arkansas, or in or around Russellville, Arkansas. And those locations were picked strategically because you have to spread these out if you want that kind of investment. When you're talking $300 million plus, you can't crowd the market We've seen mistakes made in places like Tunica where that happened, where there were just too many licenses in too small of a geographic area. So those are spread out and designed to kind of capture the traffic of Arkansas that was otherwise leaving the state, to Oklahoma or to Mississippi and so forth. So we don't know yet what the Pope County project will look like, but all of the interested parties are bidding in at over $300 million.
That's amazing.
All in all, just in construction alone, you'll meet the $1 billion mark.
That is truly amazing. So you talked a little bit about covering government and political affairs at the office, and I'm sure the casino covers a lot of that time, but what basically is like a day in the office? What types of cases and things are you covering?
That's a good question. I do a lot of practice that centers around the Arkansas State Constitution. I think that as a body of law, that's probably underutilized by law lawyers in the state. I think I learned you kind of get into a groove when you're practicing law or doing anything. You get into a groove where you're just kind of trying to put out fires day by day. And I think my time in the legislature allowed me to kind of back up and see the forest rather than just the trees, And so I try to spend time looking at major issues that and law that's based in the state constitution. So, for example, right now we're doing a referendum on an act that was passed that expanded the scope of eye surgeries to include non-medical doctors being allowed to do eye surgeries, optometrists. It's a really hotly contested issue in the legislature, and we represent a group who's under the Arkansas Constitution going through a procedure to refer that act out to the people. So, that's the kind of space where I'm comfortable operating, and that is a law practice that's kind of focused around the state constitution and state government.
Right, yeah. And like we said earlier, you served 3 terms in the House, and you're still fairly young. Do you have any plans on entering back in the public arena anytime soon?
I've got young kids. I think that's a really, I believe strongly in public service, but you've got to have the time to devote to it. And with a 3-year-old and 1-year-old, I don't think I'd have time to hit the road and do that at this stage in life. But who knows? Maybe a little bit later when they grow up a little bit, we'll see.
Yeah. And I'll leave you with this question that we ask all of our guests. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what do you want the Nate Steele legacy to be?
I'd like to have made a positive impact on the bar, on the practice of law in my area, in Pulaski County or the state as a whole, and I'd like to have a positive impact on state law, on issues relating to, a responsible medical marijuana program, a casino gaming program that's responsible and makes sense, things like that. Okay. So I hope that when my kids Google me when they grow up, whether I'm still around or not, they'll see some positive articles about my law practice and, not negative ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, listen, we greatly appreciate all the work that you're doing here in the state of Arkansas and everything that you've done for us. You always have a welcome seat here on ArkanTalk, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Everybody, Mr. Nate Steele, we'll have links to him in the bio on the website, and we'll see you guys next week on ArkanTalk.